Kare Shalom, welcome to our watercolor journey. Heinrich painted these daisies as a tribute to a dear friend, Shelley Ann. The materials used are listed in the description below. On the palette we have shadow green, neutral tint, Aureolin, Quinacridone Gold and Sepia. The Gansen rough paper is taped to a flat board. Heinrich uses a silver black velvet number 14 mop to wet the entire paper. He made a premix of Aureolin and neutral tint. More Aureolin will give you a lighter green and more neutral tint will give you a lovely deep olive green. He uses the silver black velvet number 12 round and starts with Aureolin. He wants a prominent background, so he is going to use strong mixes of the paint. Remember that watercolor usually becomes a lot lighter as it dries, so try to be bold in your colors and don't be afraid to make your mixes a bit stronger. He uses the colors on the palette to create the background, preserving a patch of bright yellow in the middle. He wants the colors to blend softly into each other, so he uses sweeping brush strokes to add pigment and to blend the colors. The dark outer edges will bring focus to the lighter center. He allows the paint to settle a bit and then adds a few sprinkles of ordinary table salt. While he waits for the salt to work, he adds a few splatters of shadow green. The paper is still wet, so the splatters will diffuse nicely into the background and give some texture. The mixing brush was quite wet, so it left a blotch of water on the paper, which immediately created a cauliflower effect. This gave Heinrich the idea to add some more water splashes with a smaller silver brush to create some texture in the background. This is a very random exercise, so it is sometimes quite difficult to control where the splashes will be. This is what makes loose painting so interesting and unpredictable. It is absolutely fascinating to watch how the salt and water droplets give texture to the background. Let the painting dry naturally. It is really important to allow enough time for it to dry. Using a hairdryer will speed up the process, but it will definitely have an adverse effect on how the salt and water droplets react. The painting is dried and the salt and water droplets have created amazing patterns which can now be used to paint the flowers. Heinrich will use the natural lines and spaces created to paint the daisies. He starts by painting the center with Aureolin, then he adds a touch of Quin Gold for variation and follows with a tiny line of Sepia for the shadow. He will do this with the centers of all the flowers. He uses the darker colors on the palette to do some negative painting around the flowers. In other words, he paints the shadows instead of the actual flowers. He uses the Babara No. 1 rigger to draw the stems. The stems are drawn very lightly and they are not always solid. He also uses different darks for the stems to create variation. The leaves on the stems are also drawn very loosely with a variety of darks. He adds a bit of shadow to the main flowers to give them a bit more definition. Then he adds some random stems to fill out the foreground. He allows the salt patches to guide him and makes good use of the patterns provided by the water splashes and the salt. Please leave us a comment and tell us what you think about this technique. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Vaya con Dios.